So I wanted to talk about one of the things that, like, I don't really know much about it. I haven't done much research into it. But as time goes by, this keeps on coming up on my radar. And very soon, I'm going to literally sit down and proper do my, my research into it. Like, what are your thoughts on AI?
My thoughts on AI.
Yeah,
Bro, I
look
love
at
it.
your face.
I love it.
You love it?
So,
Talk to us.
good question.
Yeah.
Because I recently wrote an article for Vice
Okay.
on AI,
Yeah.
on ChatGPT, and basically the premise behind the article was, can I get AI to digitally clone myself
Ooh.
to reply to my WhatsApp messages? So
That seems already scary to me, bro. What are we doing here, mate?
So the idea was that
Yeah.
I would get ChatGPT to ask me as many questions about myself, to then learn like how I respond to people, to learn like just like my quirks, like my turn of phrase, like just the way that I speak in order to respond to like people who send me messages.
Yeah.
So then I would like copy and paste the messages into ChatGPT, and then it would reply for me on my behalf. And it was so bad. It was so bad.
Oh.
Like some of the messages were just like outright rude. Like, so I had to send them anyway. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was funny, but yeah.
Listen,
But-
yeah. Are we? Sorry to even cut you. Yeah. Are we like as humans? Yeah. Are we actually playing with fire here, or
Yeah.
like? Because I feel like, from some of the stuff that I'm reading about and stuff like that, it's like we might get to a point with AI where it's like it might not be good for humanity, just in general for the people. Like, what are you with it? Like, are we not playing with? Are we playing with fire, or you feel like in future this actually might benefit the human race?
Oh, it's both, isn't it? It's like everything that we've done up to this point with science, bar like nuclear weapons and stuff like that,
Yeah.
has been beneficial to humans, right? I
Yeah.
would say, like most things are pretty good. The science that we've created, like, we've minimized illness, like child mortality, like everything's getting better. Like there's never been a safer time to live than now, like
Really? Yeah.
medicinally as well. So it's like science has been good up to this point, and now we're getting to a point where like it could be negative, and I don't think a lot of people like understand that if you push that too far in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
then it can have like a negative impact on us. But at the same time, the possibilities of like AI solving climate change, solving like curing cancer, like all these different issues, and like what's also really interesting is like quantum computing,
Yeah.
and like what that'll be able to
Yeah.
to do as well.
Yeah, because I'm just obviously watching movies back in the day, the iRobot and all of these things that you're trying, all of these computers that you're trying to program, eventually getting way too smart and turning up, ending up like, basically turning around against you and doing all of these things. Like the vibe I'm just getting from AI, I just feel like human beings are just going a little bit too far. We just might, the human race one day just might pay for it. But like you said as well, like, hey, I feel like also as well, like a lot of people, it's very, very early in a lot of people's life. And I feel like a lot of people, they just don't really understand exactly what, what AI is and what effects AI is going to, in terms of like what effect AI is going to bring in future.
Yeah,
You-
I mean, I've read quite a bit on it, and I think like as long as there's like
Yeah.
a kill switch, as long as there's like lots of different like boards and committees of people like discussing like things and doing it in a safe way, I feel like
Yeah.
we can continue to research, but I think we
Yeah.
just have to like temper it and not be too hasty with it. But then at the same time, like if it falls into the hands of the wrong person, then
Yeah.
obviously that's an issue.
Yeah, and even like I always say to people, we live in a social media age, right? We've got all of these gadgets already, like all of these proper developed gadgets everywhere. All of us have got them, yeah. Do you feel like personally? Do you feel like like social media has basically damaged the human race more than like benefited the human race, just overall in general?
Yeah.
Or should I say social media or technology?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really interesting question, and that like I feel like it's quite similar to the AI question in like a lot of ways, in the sense that like it won't be as bad as maybe like some people think, and like obviously a lot of good things have come out of social media, like
Yeah.
different movements like Black Lives Matter, stuff like that, have been really positive, and like it's shared stories from different backgrounds, marginalised communities that have been really that have been really positive, but then at the same time like sharing fake news and all that kind of thing as well.
So like the pros and cons
has really disrupted like the political world that we live in. So it's a balance, and I think good things will come, bad things will come, but in the end, like life does continue. And like at the same time, like I can put my phone down. Like I logged into Twitter last night, and I just like looked through the first couple of tweets, and I was like, none of this like represents me as a person anymore. Like I used to go on there and, you know, see stuff from my friends and like get a little update, like a little joke or like a little, like to see what people are up to. And now I go on, it's like, here's 5 reasons why Trump is going to be the new president. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm just like, I just opened my phone for a bit of light relief. Like I didn't open it.
And then before you know, you're just getting all of these Donald Trump kind of tweets in your face.
Or whatever the latest like culture war is or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like so easy to get riled and vexed by all these things when you just like, you don't need to. Like, all I have to do is put my phone down, go into the other room, my son's there, and that's life. Like, that's a real interaction. Getting likes and retweets and shares and all this, it's not genuine, is it?
Yeah. Like just literally 1 or 2 more questions, and we can literally just call it there. Even before I finish, thank you so much, man, for your time, man. I really appreciate this one. Like, you see mental health, like you see that, you know, to keep your mental health, you know, to keep your head in a good place, like what kind of things like do you do in terms of like working on your mental health, and like what kind of things do you do like to make sure like your head stays in a good place, or like in a good balanced place?
So like I've experienced like mental health issues like throughout my life. I think like they were at their worst point in around 2017. I was suffering from like really bad anxiety, I had depression, and I was just like struggling to go, you know, outside, struggling to like get even like a train ticket. Like I felt like I was having panic attacks all the time, and for no reason in particular, but like I felt like my body would just kind of like hijack me, and it felt like I was just like essentially getting jumped by my own body, just trying to do something completely arbitrary, like go to the shop and buy myself a drink. So I realised I needed to do something about it. At that point, got myself into therapy, like just self-referred from the NHS, which you can do on the website, which is really like a good place to start if you're experiencing any anxiety or anything like that. Did cognitive behavioural therapy, so like just trying to like disrupt negative thoughts, stuff like that is like a really positive place to start. In my, you know, like drinking less, like less alcohol, and doing lots of exercise. Like running for me is like such a big thing. I absolutely love running. I have to basically go for a run every day. I'm like a golden retriever. Like, if you don't take me out for a walk.
Now big yourself up, because even just talking about running quickly, I have my, it's like a roller coaster. I have my times where I'm proper on it, and then I feel like you know what, and then I stop it. But it's definitely, jogging is a very, very good way, you know, to really, really clear up your mind. Because when I used to go for jogging, I can honestly say, like my mind during that jog, I'm not gonna lie, my mind was in a very, very good place. It was proper good, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have some great ideas while I'm out running. Like, I try, you know, as I say, I try and get out every single day, even with like a newborn son. Like, I still try and get out every single day, and just having that bit of time alone, just to like not think about anything. It's like it's essentially meditation. Like some people will sit there and clear their mind. I'll go for a run and clear my mind. And I end up having some like great ideas for articles, ideas for videos, ideas for podcasts. Like while I'm out on my run, that's kind of like when I'm not thinking, and that's when the ideas come out. But I find that's really positive for my mental health. And then obviously, just like talking, just like being open as we are right now. Like I'm very, very open about my mental health, about how I'm feeling. Like what happens with me is like I get quite overstimulated. I get like, if I'm in the supermarket and there's just like a lot of people, or like the lights are really bright, or like there's a lot of people speaking at the same time, like I can get quite overwhelmed, and that can like spin me out, make me feel quite like vexed, and just like I just don't want to be here anymore. And like learning to like deal with that, breathe, like recenter myself, and now I'm just like in such a better place mentally.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really happy to hear that, man. I'm really, really happy to hear that because, like, when you're going through like a journey of like, when you're dealing with some issues, you're going through some mental health issues, like, I feel like one of the things that, for me personally, anyway, maybe you can relate to this as well, is like, that self-love, that thing called self-love in terms of like finding ways to slowly like love yourself again in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on self-love and what kind of things like do you like? Yeah, what are your thoughts on self-love in general?
So yeah, I found that I can have like quite a lot of negative thoughts, like particularly when I get like tired or I'm overworked or there's a lot of stuff going on. I can be quite like I can talk. Like everyone has like an inner monologue, right? Everyone has a dialogue with themselves. Like you kind of like have thoughts and you think things, and sometimes those things can be quite negative. So yeah, I sometimes feel like I can be quite negative in aspects towards myself, and like it's definitely something that I'm working on, is how to like think more positively and to convince myself that I'm not a bad person, and that like, I'm a good dad and I'm a good husband and I'm a good friend, and all of these different types of things. I'm actually good at my job, and I don't know, like as you were saying earlier, like with imposter syndrome, like I get it all the time, and like you can get that about being a dad, and you can get that about being a good friend, and it's like there's times when you're like people, I don't deserve to have all these wonderful people in my life, and like getting around that and like and just like as you say, like loving yourself a little bit more and like being positive with yourself and like trying to disrupt those negative thoughts, and actually like all these people in your life wouldn't be there if you weren't actually like an okay person. So I think you just have to like convince yourself sometimes, but I think it's really important to be positive in those ways.
Also, self-talk, innit? Self-talk is so important, innit? To keep on reminding yourself, especially during those times where your mind might be playing tricks on you or you're in certain situations. For me...
It's mad though, because you can like, you decide, right? You decide how you're going to speak to yourself. Like you just, like if I'm walking to the train, like I can either choose to be like negative or I can choose to be positive.
Real talk.
If let's say I like did a drawing, right? Then I could easily go like, that's crap, or I could say like, that's amazing. Like it's all subjective, so it doesn't matter. Like you could say like, you can say whatever you like, whenever you like, so you might as well just be positive.
For real, even one of the last things I just want to talk about is like, people, like I think there's a lot of people obviously going through some stuff. People are working, a lot of us are trying to achieve a lot of different things, and like for anyone who's into like obviously the entertainment industry, for anyone who wants to become like like a podcaster, into sound, like exactly like what you do, like, but for whatever reason like life is kind of hitting them, they've got certain situations or whatever, and it's kind of like whatever situation they've got, it's always taking them off kind of like their path. Like, what kind of advice would you have for them kind of people who are, dreaming, but for whatever reason, it's like the journey keeps on stop starting?
I feel like everyone's journey is like different, isn't it? And I feel like if you put too much pressure on yourself to like be a certain thing by a certain time, then you're gonna produce worse work, because you're putting so much pressure on yourself that you're not allowing yourself to think creatively, to think freely. So I'd say like, first of all, like don't put too much pressure on yourself. And particularly do not compare yourself to others. So if you feel like your journey is like going stop, start, that's just your journey, and that's just a roller coaster, and that's what life is. So you might as well just like ride it out, and like there's nothing you can do about that. So as I say, you might as well think positively about the ways that you're doing it. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be like a yes man a lot of the time, like say yes to every opportunity, but that can be really tiring. Like I remember like one week I was like at uni, so what was I doing? I was like interning on a breakfast show in Oxford, so I had to be there at 4 a.m. and then I would come back, I would go straight to uni at like 2 p.m. I'd go home for a little nap, and then so I'd finish uni at 5, go home, sleep for an hour, and then go and DJ at a bar, and then after the bar I was interning at Radio 1, and then getting up again at 4. And like I was just saying yes to absolutely everything, and I burnt out so quickly. And like, opportunities are amazing, and you should say yes so that you can tell stories like that. Like, do you know what I mean? But like,
Sorry to even cut you. Like, what is the power of saying no? Because you know, like you said, sometimes some people might feel like I have to say yes to this. I have to say yes to this. Like,
Yeah,
do you think there's still like also there's a power to say to that word no as well? Not
Definitely,
accepting
and I
everything,
think
yeah.
like knowing your worth is like really important. So like if someone asks you to like, you know, work for free or work less than your rate or like whatever that might be, like sum it up. Like how is this going to benefit me? How is it not going to benefit me? Like you get to a point where you have to start valuing yourself, and at that point you start saying no.
Yeah.
And I think that is powerful. And it's like yeah, that's how you grow in life as well. Like at some point you need to like go, okay, like let's say you want to get into radio as a producer. You start off as an intern, then you become a broadcast assistant, then you become an assistant producer, and then you become a producer.
Yeah.
At some point you have to go, right, I'm not going to take any more internships. I'm only going for the broadcast assistant
real?
roles. And then after like a year, you go like, right, I'm not going to take any more broadcast assistant roles. I'm going to be an assistant producer.
Yeah.
And then at some point you do the same and you become a producer. But like there are these like quite awkward moments in between those times where you don't feel worth the role that you're going for, and you don't have any experience in the role that you're going for. So you just have to kind of like take the leap, have a little bit less work, maybe you know, do a couple of gigs to keep you like tided over with money, to allow you to keep going.
For real, honestly, bro, I never want to take up more of your time, man. I want to say thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate, you know, you giving us, you know, your time to talk to us on Reality Team TV. And even before we go, you know, like, what are your socials? If you, you know, if you're active on social media, could you please, you know, give your socials to the people for anyone who's going to be watching this conversation, and they, you know, they might want to check you out more, to check out your work, and you know, to keep tabs of your future, you know, your future plans, that and that. So yeah, like, what are your socials and where could people find you? Where is the best place for people to find you?
So I'm on Twitter at Rossi,
Yeah.
and I'm on Instagram at RossiBix.
Okay, Ross. You've heard it from the man himself. Once again, it's been Reality Team TV. We're back. We're not going nowhere. Thank you, Ross. Honestly, man, it's been a pleasure, yeah? Peace and out, yeah?
Cheers.
Peace.